He said 3, 2, 1, but then I don't know if we started.
We did. We're live.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Portable Chicken.
Oh, is that what the show's called now?
Portable Chicken, the show.
Yeah.
The audio sounds great, by the way. I did a quick check.
Oh, does it? Perfect. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Dang, I'm good.
It's Cryptic Puzzle, but it's the Portable Chicken edition of Cryptic Puzzle.
Yeah, he's Andy and I'm Tommy.
And he's Tommy and I'm Andy.
Yeah, I think it's how that works.
And today, we're just like the last stream. We're kind of gonna do a laid back sort of what we've been playing recently, sort of a dish, in a laid back, chill fashion. And it's Saturday morning, and we're chilling out. And Tommy's gonna play FF7 Rebirth, right? Not remake.
Yes, yeah. Remake is the first part. Rebirth is the second part. I don't know exactly where it ends yet because I'm in the middle of it. And I'm riding around on. This was not in the original Final Fantasy VII, I assure you.
I don't even know if these existed when the original Final Fantasy VII was out.
Segways? No, I don't think so. I think they were still a couple years away from like existing at all, and then years after that before it became like a thing where we were all like, "What the heck are those? Why are we talking about them?"
Speaking of segues, I've been playing Monster Hunter.
Nice, good one. I ruined it.
So we're just gonna talk. Tommy, look, I've been playing Monster Hunter Wilds, all right, and it's awesome, and I love it, and I think Monster Hunter is the best ever. And if you, oh my God, look at this guy.
Yeah.
Johnny?
Who's this guy?
It's Johnny.
Johnny?
Yeah.
I know, dude. Of course
Yeah,
I know
dude,
John.
dude, it's Johnny. Don't you know from a man who's never played Final Fantasy VII before?
No, I remember from when I played Final Fantasy VII in 1988 on the PlayStation Vita.
Oh my gosh! Wow, what a combination of things you just said.
What a coincidence. We were just looking for a place
Wow.
to stay.
On the PlayStation Vita, how'd you get back to 88 with one of those? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, I know. I don't even know what the PlayStation Vita is. Was it a handheld?
Yeah, that was the PSP2.
Yes. Okay. You know what? I did know that.
Yeah.
So, all right. So, Tommy, I'm just gonna tell you about Monster Hunter Wilds a little bit and why it rules
Okay.
and why Monster Hunter rules. I think in general, like, I was playing Monster Hunter Wilds nigh 1 hour ago while I sipped my coffee in the morning. And,
Make sure you stick close.
you know, I just think, like, Monster Hunter is the best ever, and there really is kind of, like, nothing like it. And I don't know, it's kind of like, to me, like, the reason I play video games, and I think the reason a lot of people play video games, which is why there's an fathomable number of people that are increasing by the day that, like, when they play Monster Hunter, become Monster Hunter sickos and do nothing but play Monster Hunter for, like, 300 years. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, it sold, or I think it sold 8 million copies in like 3 days or whatever it was, and it had like over 1 million people playing concurrently just on Steam, I think.
Yeah,
It's like it's the fastest selling game Capcom has ever made, which is crazy to think about. Grand scheme of things. So
it's the fastest selling Capcom game ever.
yes,
Yeah, that's awesome. And, like, I guess what's cool about
Wow.
Monster Hunter
It's,
is,
I don't know.
I feel like Wilds
Great.
is following this trend of becoming more welcoming to new players and, like, becoming an easier experience for beginners, which has come with, like, some controversy of, you know, Monster Hunter fans. But I think what's great about Monster Hunter is, I guess, similar to, like, Dragon Quest or Final Fantasy, like all of these really, like, long-running legacy series, is that if you play Monster Hunter Wilds and you, like, love what Monster Hunter Wilds is, it really is not that different from what, like, the core Monster Hunter experience has always been. So if you want to go back and play Rise or play World or play Monster Hunter Generations, like if you like Monster Hunter, you will enjoy all of those other games, which is sort of like the magical awesome thing about Monster Hunter is they really have stuck to the vision of what the game is, and the game has always been fun since the very beginning.
Yeah, I am a little bit torn because like there's the part of me that is like maybe I should hop on the thing while it came out and it's popular and it's on everything and it's it is crossplay, right?
Yeah.
Monster Hunter, yeah. I know it wasn't always, but then there's also the appeal of well, I know Rise runs really well on everything because it was originally a Switch game. And also it's got all its DLC and patches and stuff like kind of worked out. So like on some level to me, like as someone who hasn't played these games before, that almost seems like, yeah, look for like the deep sale on like Rise and all of its stuff as a proposition rather than trying to hop into Wilds now. But then I have the FOMO of I didn't get to play it with everyone else when they were playing it.
Yeah, well, I think they're all great games. They're all great entry points for different reasons, and I will describe those different reasons now. If that's fine for. I mean, we're talking Monster Hunter.
Yeah,
If we
here's
just
the thing. You're going to have to carry this because, as I said, I have barely played. I played like 2 to 3 hours of the beginning of Monster Hunter World, like enough time for me to get to, I'm going to try out all the weapons. And then I went, okay, cool. And then I never played it again. And
Yeah.
yeah, one of those. You know, I'm famous for that. Look at this
You are
cool
pretty-
thing that I just stopped playing for no real reason.
Yeah. Well, I think Wilds is probably the best one to get into if you want to get into one. And like part of that is the hype of it being the game that everybody is playing. Like I just think that's like a cool, for me personally, like that's a cool thing to do, is like play it while the hype is big and while they're still releasing monsters and everyone's talking about it. But like I think ultimately Wilds is just as welcoming as World or Rise, potentially more so. I think Rise is probably the most player friendly. It's probably the best choice for you if you have played Monster Hunter and you feel like, oh my god, this game feels incredibly slow and dull and hard to wrap my head around, because the wire bug mechanic in Rise makes the game like infinitely faster than any other Monster Hunter. And it's such a like smooth, speedy experience. Plus, in Rise, you also have a dog to ride around, similar to the portable chicken of Monster Hunter
Oh yeah,
Wilds.
the Palamutes, right?
Yes, Palamutes,
Yeah.
which is like the counterpart to the Palico. So I do think Rise is still a great choice. I think Wilds is probably the best choice, but I think World is World is also the best choice. World is also a great choice because it's like always on sale for like $15 with the Iceborne expansion included, which is actually, I played World I think about exactly a year ago. It was last January I got it and played it for the first time, again for like $15, and I never even finished all of the Iceborne expansion stuff. And I played that game for like 80 hours. So I think in terms of value proposition, World is a great choice. And also, I think that the combat in World is maybe not the most appealing. To me, Wild has the best combat of all of them, but I think World is better at teaching you like how to play Monster Hunter and like why Monster Hunter is fun. Cuz I think the wire bug in Rise is a little bit deceptive because you almost have so much mobility, and if you're good with it, you can face tank like a lot of stuff with the wire bug. But I think to me, the real fun of playing Monster Hunter is the really slow, deliberate stuff where like you're really trading blows with the monster and doing like this tit for tat. There's like a rhythmic thing that happens in Monster Hunter where the monster takes a turn and you take a turn. And the fun of Monster Hunter is learning when you have like a viable opening to attack the monster. And I think the game being a little bit slower benefits from that. Whereas like Rise is so fast and you can just like wire bug dash through all of these things, and it doesn't have the same sort of flow, I think, that I prefer from the slower Monster Hunter games.
So that's interesting because I've always assumed that I would prefer the faster version of most things because, like, I mean, we've talked a ton about Souls and everything at this point, and as it turns out, I still think that fundamentally the best feeling combat in all the Souls games to me is Bloodborne, and a huge part of that is because it's faster. Like way faster than the other ones, and not because it's like, oh, it's literally twice as fast. It's the mechanics and the ways that those games are laid out are simplistic enough where those really subtle changes make like a really huge difference in how fundamentally everything plays out, and the design is also centered around it. So like the rally mechanic and stuff also you know, makes you want to be more aggressive, and so like I like that the most in a series that most people talk about how slow the combat is, you know.
Yeah.
So I always assumed that Rise would like probably be my favorite because it's the hyper crack version of the of the combat, you know.
And it might be your favorite. I think Wilds, they did a really smart thing, which is like they don't have there's no wire bug in Wilds. The new like twist they put on combat is the injury breaking system. That's not the right word. The wound breaking system. But it does feel like in general, the character movements in Wilds and your moves have like a little bit more mobility than something like World. So they kind of found this middle ground to like make the game feel a little bit smoother and quicker, more akin to Rise, but without losing what I like, which is the slow deliberateness. But yeah, I mean, I've also played Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate, which is like it's the newest version of like the old school Monster Hunter. And I played that after Rise, and I actually played that game with like Greatsword for like a good chunk of the game. And when I played Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate with Greatsword, which is the slowest weapon in an incredibly slow game compared to Rise, that's when the game finally clicked for me of like, oh, I understand the feeling of playing Monster Hunter in the old school way, which is like everything is really, really slow, but the whole purpose is you want to take a dodge roll to get out of the way of the monster's head. You want to land just next to the monster's head, like in the perfect position, and you want to get one meaty swing on that dude's face. And that is what feels good in Monster Hunter to me. It's not like zipping through and hitting the monster a million times. It's that like one satisfying chunk you take out of that dude's face that feels good. Like there's like a weight to like smacking that dude in the face. And that's what I prefer. And I think the other beauty of the game too is that like I think for me it's easy to forget that, because sometimes you're fighting a monster and you're like, oh, like this monster is so well designed, like the timing of their attacks is so great, like the way that I can get right behind his feet, and that's like the safe zone for if I want to attack the tail. Like you get the sense that the monsters have been so well balanced and so well tested that it feels like fair and fun to take on the monster and learn how to fight them. But it's easy for me to forget, oh, there's also 12 other weapons that they balanced the monster perfectly around all of them in the same stroke. So you really can play Monster Hunter in all of these different ways. You can even play with like a gun weapon. Like you can play in a ranged way too. So if you prefer the faster thing, there's lots of weapons that are much faster than greatsword or swax, which is what I play. So that's like the other beauty of the game too.
What's funny is you mentioning the switch axe. I remember in what little I played of World, I remember thinking that the switch axe was super cool. I was like, ooh, actually, I think I might like this. So, I mean, what is? I'm sure it's changed at this point because now we're talking about you're playing 2 iterations later. So I guess let's talk about what it is in Wilds. Like on a scale of like complexity, like what is the most? Is there like a new, like I'll say the highest barrier to entry weapon type now, or is it all kind of the same relative spread of things? And now I know you can also have 2, which makes a big difference.
Yeah, the weapons have been largely unchanged since before Worlds. I mean, each game has like some slight tweaks. Like you might have one combo that wasn't present in the other games. Or like obviously the wire bug gave you some different capabilities in Rise that you didn't have. But on the whole, the weapons have been pretty much exactly the same. Like you can go back to Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate 4 generations ago and play Swax, and you're like, oh, cool. Like I know how to play Swax. There may be like 1 or 2 attack patterns that are different, or combos that are different, but it's largely the same.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
I guess
But
that makes sense.
yeah, I think for me, like the way I would generally think about Monster Hunter if you're playing melee is it's a spectrum from great sword to dual blades. Great sword being like the really, really slow option that is all about getting one good swing, to dual blades, which are like really, really fast, and they're almost like your character is holding these tiny knives. And you can really like chip away at the monster, and you're like very agile, and you can like swipe away at him slowly. It's sort of nickel and dime him.
You're doing the attack on Titan.
Yep. Yeah, pretty much.
I don't know. I was like, you know what? I actually have no idea if Andy knows anything about this reference. So there you go.
Nothing. I just pretended to agree.
There
Did
you go.
like
Nice.
that?
Dang. Yeah.
Like,
Good
yeah,
job.
totally.
Good job.
Yeah, I assume you're like a tiny guy taking on like giant titans, I assume, right? You're just like, chipping away.
Yeah, see, you know the song. Yeah.
I
That's
do.
That's
Yeah.
what matters.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's sort of the general way I would think about it. And that like you have weapons like switch axe and charge blade, which have multiple forms, and sort of the fun of those weapons is like learning when to switch between the forms of the weapons to get maximum damage. And there's like sort of this like meter managing thing you have to do with them a little bit. And then there's weapons like insect glaive, which is like kind of a totally unique melee weapon where you can use the glaive to like pole vault up in the air to like jump over monster attacks, which feels really cool. And the insect glaive also has like a literal insect that you can shoot at the monster, like almost
Nice.
almost like a ranged weapon. But like when you shoot it at the monster, depending on which monster part you hit, you like harvest materials from the monster, which like feeds back into your melee attacks. It's like very complex and cool and fun to learn. So I think the level of complexity is like a whole nother layer when you're learning Monster Hunter. Is not only are you learning the monster and how to best deal with them, but you're learning like how to effectively use your weapon in the best way too, which is like this entirely fun loop.
You see,
Yeah.
the movement piece sounds fun to me, and that's also again where the speed thing sounds like it might be fun. But again, I literally own World. I could just go back and play it without needing to spend any more money to like reevaluate my feelings. Because I would have played it when I didn't get a PS4 until like 2018 or 2019, I think. I think it was like right before the pandemic, if I remember right. Something like that. And I haven't played it since. So it's been like 5 years at least.
Yeah. And I've said this to you a great many times. I don't know if I've said it on the podcast, but when I played World last year, that was like some of the best 50 hours straight of a video game I've ever played. Like, it was 50 hours of straight endorphins plugged directly into the back of my brain in the best way. Just like some of the best video game you could ever ask for is Monster Hunter World. It's just so unbelievably good. I love the like the like immersion and the way the worlds are crafted is so much of the fun of that game. I think it's just such a like deep, rich, immersive game with unbelievable combat. So I think to anybody who's like maybe interested, like, you could get World on a deep sale and it is super worth it. And what's cool is I think World like sold a ton in the 2 weeks before Monster Hunter Wilds came out, which is like unbelievable.
Oh, wait, hold on. Say that last part again. I'm
Did I say
having
it
a really
backwards?
hard time failing at this mini game while attempting to also pay attention to every single thing that you say.
So before, in the lead up to Wilds releasing, Monster Hunter World sold a ton. Like, people
Oh,
bought
yeah,
it in
yeah,
the 2 weeks before.
Do you know what the actual figures were on that? Because I remember
can
that
check
also
it
being
out.
interesting. Yeah.
Let's look it up, because yeah, I mean, like, and maybe Capcom was smart to like put it on a deep sale, and that's part of why it sold.
You played that on purpose?
Yeah, I genuinely
let's
don't know.
Oh no, wait, this is a Reddit post about Wilds. Monster Hunter World sales.
Finish him off.
It sold total close to 30 million units.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize that World was that popular. Well, you know what?
Yeah.
I should have known that. Monster Hunter is like, we're Westerners. It's way more popular, especially in like Japan and stuff. But it is an incredibly popular series that I just never think about being like that.
Yeah. Let's see. February 12th, 2025, Game Rant has an article called Monster Hunter World Sales Are Way Up. Over 1 million new sales in the last 3 months of 2024.
That's
Wow.
crazy.
That is absolutely bananas. For a game that's like 6 years old or something.
Yeah, that's the other. I should remember when I actually did buy it. Monster Hunter Worlds. Yeah, it came out January 2018. So there you go. It is decidedly going to be 6 at the.
Yeah. I mean, again, like, that's the cool thing about Monster Hunter is if you find out that you are a fan of Monster Hunter, it's like, well, guess what? There's like infinite hours of gameplay in other games that you're going to love as much as the one you're playing,
Interesting.
even though it might be a little bit different. So like, yeah, that's just awesome.
You played that on purpose?
Yeah, so hard recommend on World or Rise or Wilds, but I think the discussion around
Oh,
Wilds has been really interesting to me. I just want to say here,
finish him off.
the people who are like, this game is too easy, are savants, and I can't believe that has been a major part of like the discourse of this game, is people like, it's too easy. Like, it's not too easy. it's not too easy unless you are like an absolute psycho. And have played and are like really good at action games or have played other Monster Hunter games. I've probably played like 400 hours of Monster Hunter games in my life, and I'm like, no, this game is as terrifying and as difficult as I would want any Monster Hunter game to be. That said, I don't think it's insanely hard, personally. But there are monsters where I'm like, yo, like, I got comboed in a way that almost carded me immediately in a terrifying way. And I don't know, I think for the average people, that's like exactly where we want Monster Hunter to sit, especially because I'm not at the end game yet.
So I have a question. Like, so what it sounds like to me, just again, completely external observer to the entire thing at this point. is that it sounds like this is kind of how Monster Hunter's literally always been, is that it sounds like people play the beginning and almost everyone who reviewed the game played low rank because they saw credits and then started typing their review. And that low rank has always been this way the whole time compared to the rest of the game, which is where a lot of people who are hardcore into Monster Hunter spend all their time. So I'm not sure who is complaining now that was not previously, I guess. And I guess I really I don't know, it just doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to me. That like why this entry? Maybe it's because it's the fastest selling thing and it's just the more people, but like the franchise has always been like that. And maybe this is just a like, hey, is this the first time I've ever paid attention to this? Does this discourse happen every single time? You
I
know?
I think I think the game from reviewers was reviewed unusually as being easy. I think with I know with Rise people were like, "Oh, the wire bug makes the game easier." Um but I think this game more than any other reviewers are like, "No, the campaign was like mad easy." But you are right. I think like I love to spend a lot of time in like toxic online communities because it entertains me. Like I've told me and you talk about this all the time. Like I love to go on like a crazy subreddit of like insane video game fans.
Yeah, you're a
But
sicko. I'm gonna do this with a mouse. What am I doing? Oh my gosh.
yeah, but with Monster Hunter, like it doesn't entertain me as much, and I do think the people who are like it's too easy are like they've been playing Monster Hunter since like 15 years ago. And yes, like you said, they thrive on the super end game where what they want to do is farm like a million of the same monster to get some insane armor and fight some like insanely hard boss with 3 of their friends, and it's going to take them like 25 hours to learn how to beat it. And so like of course, if that's what you're doing, is like fighting high rank Fatalis in Monster Hunter World with 3 of your friends who have all played the games for hundreds of hours, then of course the main campaign monsters are going to be too easy to you. But I think the whole point of the main campaign monsters is that it's supposed to be a fun single player experience that anybody can complete. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just weird to me that like the hardcore players who have been doing the hardcore thing and know how the game works would be like, I can't believe that low rank is easy. Like, I don't think it's those people. So like, who's going on the internet and just complaining about this game that they probably haven't actually even played, kind of thing? It's what it feels like. Is that it's mostly just a like people just need to be mad about something, so they're just hopping on some stuff they don't understand.
It could be.
It's weird. It doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to me. I don't know.
Be.
I think people just need to calm down.
They do. I do think, though, with Monster Hunter in particular, and maybe I'm wrong, but I get the sense that the majority, or at least the majority of people who have vocal opinions about Monster Hunter are the longtime veterans that have been playing the game forever. So it seems like their opinions dominate. And I mean, even if you think about the game reviewers themselves, like, your first Monster Hunter is going to be your hardest Monster Hunter. It doesn't matter which one. The first one you play will be the hardest because you're learning the game and how to play it. And once you've beaten one Monster Hunter game, the rest of them become easier. So all of these reviewers, on the whole, are going to be like much better at this game than someone who's never played a Monster Hunter game. But yeah, I think that's just the majority of the people who get really, really into Monster Hunter. They live for like the super hard end game, and anything that isn't that is unacceptable to them. And I don't understand it. I'm like, I want more people to play Monster Hunter. That's just awesome.
It's it's the weird gatekeeping thing that like it happens everywhere. It's not like it's unique to Monster Hunter by any means. It's just the people who play the game and they're really into their game and their hardcore thing and they want it in a very specific way. They just don't care about what anyone else's opinion of the game is. It is as though they think the game is made literally specifically so that they can go and spend their money on it and then enjoy it. And that the entire ecosystem exists to serve them specifically. It's like, nah, dude, that ain't how it works. Sorry.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a little more complicated than that.
Yeah, I think you and I are similar in this aspect too, where like, I don't know, let's say Wilds comes out and let's say the criticisms were right. Like let's say it was like 50% easier than any other Monster Hunter game. Like just for the sake of argument, if that were the case, it's like okay, there is so much other Monster Hunter that is on that level of difficulty. You could go back and play Rise and World and Generations and Monster Hunter 3 and 4. Like, the other part I don't get is just like, man, there are literally thousands of hours of video game with that level of difficulty that you want that is out there waiting for you. So I don't think, even if this one was a lot easier and the series was taking a different direction, I don't think that ruins the games that are out there, and I think you could still have a great time with that experience if you wanted it, because it exists.
Yeah, it's the same argument that people have about remakes and stuff, right? It's like, oh well, and don't get me wrong, I'm a big old Metal Gear nerd, and Metal Gear Solid Delta is coming soon, but it appears to be the like Konami hire this man. We just put Metal Gear Solid 3 almost otherwise unchanged with a couple tweaks into Unreal Engine 5. It's all the same voice acting. The like animations and the cutscenes are using the same motion capture. Like, what's it's and if you just don't care for the new art direction, it's like, why does this exist? Because I can just play the original one, and this one's not new and different, and I have on screen right now a dramatically different remake of Final Fantasy VII, also delivered in parts, that I'll say I have thoughts on that I will not get into during this because I want to save that for the future when Andy and I actually play through Final Fantasy VII OG, and maybe he tries one of these ones out, sees how he feels.
Yeah.
Yeah, I for the longest time was one of those people where like if a Final Fantasy VII remake came out, she's like, yeah, we'll just do it like another RPG and it'll be prettier and they'll add some stuff and blah blah blah. No, I don't want to be on the wheelie. Get off the wheelie. Okay. But again, like that would just be like, okay, well I could also just play the PlayStation version. Okay,
Yeah.
I can literally do that. We're gonna do that for the show. Like that's a plan that we have to do, is to play through that game. So,
Yeah. And I think, I don't know, I'm with you on that too, for sure. But I think remakes are kind of in a unique position because, I don't know, when you're releasing a game, if you're making a remake of Final Fantasy VII, there is, first of all, there's literally no way to please everybody, obviously, but
Yeah.
like even more so with a remake. But I think when you're releasing a game from 20, 30 years ago and making a brand new version, there is an element of like modern players of games have come to expect different types of game design and just like a different approach to how games are made in general. So I think there is a little bit of an expectation of, how you're going to quote unquote modernize the game or make it accessible to people who haven't played it. Because, like, let's face it, any game from 30 years ago is going to have some stuff that's going to rub you the wrong way now if you're like 15 today and you've never played a game from that era. So
absolutely.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I think
no doubt about it. That's just how things evolve and change over time.
Right. So I think it's understandable for developers to be like, yeah, we want to make it for a modern audience, like of people who have different expectations today.
Yeah, and I also
I'm with
just
you.
think there's merit in just making something that isn't attempting to be a clone of a different thing already. Like there
Yep.
is like it's like it's covering a song, right? You either have to do something different with the cover of the song, right? Or you somehow have to do the thing that the song originally did as good or better than that, or the only reaction you will ever get is, oh well, I was I would just listen to the original. Like that's just
Yeah.
how people are, and I don't think that this is any different. It is a far more complicated and expensive endeavor to make an entire video game that also has a whole lot of music in it than to do like a cover of one song type of thing, So like, but all the same rules still apply. if you're doing a remake kind of thing. It's just you're signing up for a whole lot more than just like, yes, let us make one song.
Yeah, I think the other piece of it that some developers like neglect that is probably like probably like the one negative thing that is different from covering a song is the game preservation piece, because Final Fantasy VII is in this great place where not only did they make a remake, which is like very different and attempts to be modern and play with the formula, but you can also buy Final Fantasy VII for like $8 on just about any console and play the original, where with developers like probably Nintendo in particular, that's usually not the case, which I think that introduces like a different layer of problematic stuff into the conversation, you know?
Yeah, I'll agree with that. But at the same time, it's funny because Final Fantasy VII is a very curious example because it depends on what platform you're buying stuff on. Like, I think genuinely the best quote unquote way to play these games without putting in a whole lot of effort, like Final Fantasy VII Original, is to just get one of the console ports, like the Switch or PlayStation or something like that, because it's got like the fast forward function. It plays just fine. You don't have to do anything funky. It just goes. And it's got a couple of those modern features built right into it. And, in the case of the Switch, that means you can also just take it wherever you want. No problem. The PC version of Final Fantasy VII has been jacked up literally since the 90s. Like, there was a PC version back then that was also screwed up. And the entire soundtrack is, like, a different MIDI set of stuff than the PlayStation version, which is, the one that people remember. So there's like a whole alternate, just generally speaking, crappier version of Final Fantasy VII's entire soundtrack that exists officially, that if I were to install the Steam version right now, I would have to mod the game to get the original PlayStation soundtrack. Which is, from like a preservation standpoint, it's like, you would have to know this in advance. Like, if you were just like, I'm just going to buy Final Fantasy VII on Steam, and you get this broke jank thing that, like, barely works and barely has for, like, 20 plus years now, when it's just like, no, man, you should just buy it on Switch. Just do that.
Here, wait.
Sit tight for 1 second. I'll be right back.
Okay. All right, now I'm running the show, and I'm playing a video game, and I was trying to focus and do that at the same time. I'm really bad at it. So I'm going to attempt to do this little card challenge again, because I wasn't paying attention to literally any of the rules. So I just dropped in and started to try and figure it out. So this is fun. I do know what Queen's Blood is. Can only play Fat Chocobo here first. That's it. So that's move one, no matter what.
Too early to tell.
All right, Andy, you gotta figure this game out for me. This is your problem now. What?
Someone was at my door talking to my wife, and I was like, "What did someone knocked on our door?" And like stays
said hello.
My wife. Yeah, they were talking, and I was like, "What's?" So anyway, sorry, everything's cool. I thought someone needed help or something. So I got to figure out this game for you.
Yeah, you gotta. So I gotta score more points in a lane than what is on the right-hand side in order to win the lane. Otherwise, you don't get anything from that. And the amount of points that I get is the number that is on the top right corner and in one of these cards. And the little like pieces in the top left corner of the cards is restricting where I can put them down. Oh, it's wife. Hello, wife.
My wife. What'd you say?
I did my good deed for the day.
She did her good deed for the day.
Nice.
Yeah, you were talking, and I was like, "What did I?" I was like, "Is someone at our house that I need to go fight?" I fought him.
That I need to go fight.
Not this neighborhood, that
He said, I'm doing it.
We're talking about portable chickens.
Yeah.
This week's edition of Cryptic Puzzle.
portable chicken is my favorite.
She loves my portable chicken.
That could be the name of the episode, but I did already name it You Cannot Proceed Further by Wheelie, so it's too
I thought
late.
we were going to name it the Portable Chicken Edition.
Well, I'm the one with the Twitch controls. This is your fault.
What a loser.
I can't believe we do a podcast with you. This is ridiculous.
Yeah, I quit.
Why do we do this? Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, this is
fired.
the end. I lost. I don't know how
Yeah.
to play this.
Yeah. I
I
don't know how to
I think
play
I
it,
have to
dude.
win to move on too, which is the funny part.
Hilarious. Okay, so what's with the little shapes on the card?
Okay, so that shows where it'll put down like a little thingy. So like if I have this little posh chocobo here, the only place I can put one down right now, you see the 3 little posts in the bottom left corner on the actual game board. So the thing on the top left corner of the card is like, hey, this is a level 1 card, so you need a level 1 thing to put it down somewhere. So all these are empty, except for this guy. And the things in the little grid there will put down new little post things on the board for me to
Oh,
expand
the grid
out.
are little posts. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, does that make sense? Oh, I'm realizing
does.
now there's a little bit of a delay between me doing it and talking right now, so yeah.
There is. What's how do you know what level space it is?
By the number of posts on the space.
Posts on the space.
Like the
Okay,
little
so if
the
you-
little green bally things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
That's
they're all
it.
level 1 currently.
Well, this one's level 3,
What, really?
like in the bottom left corner, because there's 3 of them. Those +2s are all just placed on the board for the sake of this thing. Pretend they're not there.
Okay.
That's specific to this puzzle thing.
How did the bottom left one become a level 3?
That's just again specific to this puzzle. Normally, it would be you would have on the left hand side you would have top, middle, bottom would just be 1 if it was a regular Queen's Blood game. But this is some hard puzzle thing, as evidenced by what it says on the right. Because normally
I
it would be 2 people doing this at each other, and then someone wins. This is
I
beat this
see.
thing in 3 cards, which
Got it.
I wasn't prepared for. When I just opened it up, I was like, oh, I'll play Queen's Blood while Andy talks. And then it was a puzzle. I was like, oh man, I really messed this up. I picked like the worst possible thing that I have to actively think about.
Yeah. Is maybe the trick that well, you should put this chicken on the bottom left.
Yeah, he's basically got to go there because that's the only way he can go down, and it's the only spot that's available. So he,
Put your
because he had his
chicken-
grid thingy, made one up here and made one down here.
Yeah. So
And I need to get more than the combined total of whatever the numbers on the right-hand side are.
Right. So you didn't beat the right-hand side yet.
Not yet. No, I got 2 more cards, though.
Is that possible with only those 3 cards?
So the benefit to this, when you win a lane with this guy, you get another bonus of 3. And then in this one is for every enhanced card you get, he gets more power.
Okay.
So yeah, I don't. Do I just have to like super win this one like by a lot? Is that how that works? Because
You
the
should
way that
put-
it works, so like if I you can see if I hover the chocobo over this one, his thing will go up to 4 because it's got the +2, and he'll get +1 from another allied card. So that'll make 11 for the row, and I'll win this one.
Do that.
But then I have to either win one of the other rows, which I don't think is possible, or I need to get more points than the combined amount in the other 2 rows, and I'll still win. Like if I get a ton of points in one row and they win the other 2, but they have less points, I still win.
Yeah. I
So
don't
yeah,
know.
let's do this. We're gonna
There's
find
a
out.
lot of rules for me to wrap my head around. I mean, with only 3
Oh, I can't
cards,
put him here. Oh, I messed. All right,
It-
we're starting over.
it feels like there's only so many possibilities. It feels like it can't be that hard with only 3 cards.
Yeah, that's why I feel like
See
now
how
that
that
I'm.
plays out.
So if I put him here,
Could have done worse, that's for sure.
then I can put you here, and that still won't work.
Huh.
Because
That also may
I
be
need to
a trick.
Need 17.
That also may be the trick, by the way. Maybe the chicken doesn't have to go in the bottom left. Maybe that's like how they trick you.
Well, yeah, but how would I ever put him down after that? Because you need to stack. Like, I would need to put down multiple things to stack up another, like, set of 3 to get him. And I just
Right.
don't have enough cards to do that. So it seems like move 1 has to be this.
That's not true. You could add 2 to something, couldn't you?
Well, here's the thing. If I do... If I do this... Oh, I can't even put him there.
You can't put him in that middle piece where he created a post.
Well, I can put him there, but it'll only make one new one to the side. He doesn't make multiple. You have to, like, if there was a spot where I could drop him right here, because there's already one in the middle, and Posh Chocobo will make one on the left. Then after I dropped him, there would be 2 in the middle. And that is the most I can make with 2 cards right now.
Right.
With these 2 cards, anyway.
I love how we just became like a Let's Play channel.
Yeah,
real
it's,
slowly.
I'm trying to figure out this one puzzle in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and anyone who's really good at this or knows what they're doing is sitting screaming, going, "Oh my god, it's not even hard." And you know what? You're probably right. But I'm trying to talk to Andy more than I am trying to play this game.
I mean, I don't want to say that it feels like you're being dumb about the puzzle, but I feel like if I knew how to play this game at all,
Yeah. Well, I'm just learning how to do this little puzzle for the first time on stream too, so we're in this
Yeah.
together, buddy. I am more familiar with Queen's Blood than you are, though.
that's
So I
true.
guess there's that.
Well, you could beat the 9. Try beating the 9 on top with your 2 remaining cards.
You played
We'll
that
see,
on
but
purpose.
I don't, because I
Do
don't
that
think
and
this
then
will
put your
work
cat.
because you have to already win the lane.
I don't care. Just try. There's only 3 cards to play with. You may as well just try some combinations and see
Yeah,
what
well,
happens.
that's what I was
Savor and
doing.
just scoop.
I think all these things happened on stream already, you know. But now you're actually like, hold on.
Why didn't you put them in the top right corner?
Because I can't. These are this is my point. I can only put them down on a space that has at least as many things as what is on the top left corner of the card.
Oh, and it doesn't have 2 in the top right corner.
Right. Yeah, that plus
Gotcha.
2 is a score thing. Yeah, those are not.
Oh, yes, that
Yeah.
keeps throwing me off.
Yeah, those are score bonuses. Yeah.
Okay.
So that makes it so I can put it in this corner and this corner. Both of those have bonuses, and both of those are great. But then I put him here, and I lose. And then I put him here, and I lose. And then I put him here, and I lose. So what? So I don't understand what I'm supposed to do.
Put the chocobo in the bottom right.
Okay.
Keep that up and you'll be fine.
I just want to see.
Okay.
It feels like there's only like 3 things you can try. Doesn't it?
I mean, that's what I thought too, but
Put him in the center now. The
I-
center bottom.
You are hopeless.
oh well.
That's not the center bottom.
All right, hold on. I'll try again.
Try super beating. I don't know.
Don't
Try
be
what?
so
Anyway.
You hear me?
Huh? I
Try-
don't. I said try super beating him. I don't know.
Bam.
Like with it where you said you get a bunch in the bottom row.
Oh,
and you beat
that's
the
what I was
9,
trying, and I only get you to 14, and I need 17. You know. Yeah.
but- Oh, I got a sneeze coming.
Oh.
False alarm.
Oh. Well, actually, I watch Andy explode on the other end of the camera right now. He's gone. That giggling, not him. It's his ghost. His physical form has
Yeah.
left us.
I'm dead, or at least dead inside.
Oh, I'm a little dead inside.
So yeah. So anyway, you should play Monster Hunter. Not you. I mean, yes, you, but the royal you.
We'll see how that
If you're
plays out.
interested even a little bit in Monster Hunter Wilds is a great it's a great choice. I think you're gonna love it if you've never played a Monster Hunter game. If you're like, this costs $70 and I don't want to spend $70, you should buy World for like 15 and you'll have an amazing time. If
You're not gonna just turn
you're
tail
like,
and
man,
run, are
these
you?
games feel too
Come
slow and
on,
I can't
wake
really
up
get into the
already.
flow of
You
combat,
might have all the time
you
in
should
the
get
world, but I
Rise,
don't.
which is available even on Switch, and it is incredibly fun. And I probably played Rise for like 200 hours. And I think if you're someone who thinks Monster Hunter Wilds is too easy, you should get a life or play Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate or something older, which is insanely hard, and you'll have a great time. Or, I mean, I don't know, probably Sunbreak. I also never played the DLC Sunbreak for Rise, which I'm sure gets insanely hard at the very end, because that's what they do with these games.
Oh, yeah.
But
I think I mentioned both to you outside the stream, but I probably mentioned that on stream before. You can make a good game into a great game if you make it suck a little bit, but in an interesting way. and the arguments seem to be over what everyone's favorite flavor of suck a little bit actually is.
Yeah.
Or how did I phrase it? Oh, people who somehow misinterpret suck a little bit as innately good, and they focus on the suck part rather than the interesting part.
Yeah,
They're
well,
like,
I
yeah,
think
this is cool and unique. It's like it could just also be bad. You know, like
yeah.
it can be
I
unique and terrible and not fun to do.
Yeah, I think basically what you're summarizing in like a funny way is I think it's from a Matthew Matos's video where he says like he's like I think that players say that they don't want things to be um obtuse or confusing or difficult. He's like, but I think that on principle that can't be true because if people just wanted games that were streamlined and easy, um then you could beat them in 5 minutes and press 3 button prompts and that would be everybody's favorite game in the world. Like ultimately, we all want something challenging or we want something to learn or we want something to overcome. That's like or we want friction. That's like the very nature of what a game is it's just it's a challenge that you have unnecessarily imposed on yourself. And so I think that quote that you love to say is kind of just highlighting the very nature of that thing. Like we do want something that sucks because we want something to overcome or something to learn. We want a challenge. It's more about what is it? What type of challenge do you want as a person? Like what level do you want it to be or how difficult do you want those things that suck to be, you know?
You know, and I think part of it is it's not even necessarily the suck thing, because I also think that there are some people who really don't care for the challenge part, like literally almost at all type of thing. And then I think it's mostly in the way that it either maybe disguises is the wrong way, but like the way that it presents to you, the way that the game is being played. Because we played Astrobot and we talked about Astrobot on the show, and I would argue that Astrobot, like I've seen some people say that like that game almost plays itself with the amount of stuff that like auto homes in on and everything. And I was like, you know what? If you stop and you think about it, that is kind of true. And there's a whole bunch of that game that you don't really have like a ton of like real meaningful, like super crazy input into. But then cool things happen anyway. And it feels awesome. And the animations are amazing. And you know what? Sometimes that's enough, you know? Like that to me, on some level, is like a more interesting way of doing like the, oh hey, let's railroad this person down this hallway so we can show them all the specific things that we want them to see type of thing. You know, it's what if we made it so that like they still have some amount of agency, right, and they feel like they have an amount of agency. And you know, I didn't have to aim this thing super precisely to make this cool explosion happen, but it happened anyway, and I did hit the button to make it happen, and it felt good, you know? I think there's a really fine line that you have to ride in order to make something feel good, like you're doing something while it also remains smooth. And I think most games don't do a good job of that. I say as I'm streaming a game as a long cutscene is playing, you know. But you know, I'm into this. You know, I wanna see these characters talk about their stuff because the characters are cool, and that's
Yeah, I
what's
mean
important.
that quote you said about Astrobot, I don't think I've ever disagreed with anything more in my entire life. That you would
Really,
say Astrobot would be playing itself. I can't even believe that anybody would say that.
a whole bunch of that game like is not actually all that like super difficult, you know. And no, but I don't mean that like you this isn't like a Sonic on rails thing. Oh, I'm playing as Earth. Look at that. Wow. Um
You got boots.
yeah, I don't mean like a Sonic on rails go through the loop de loop type thing is like the whole game, but I mean like there's so much stuff where it's like grab this thing and throw it over there, but really all you have to do is like hit the guy, and then like the lock on is so generous that I can be doing, as long as I'm not looking almost exactly 180 degrees in the wrong direction. If I hit the button, he will throw it at the right thing. type of thing. You know what I mean? Those are all the like
Well,
all the stuff that like quickly connects you to the next bit. Like this isn't a criticism. This is actually a compliment of the game for me. Is that how well it does that exact thing? Because the ways that other game do that is, all right, we're gonna put them into their little crouchy hidey hole for a second so we can have the game load and come out and they go, oh wow, they see the thing, and it has
well,
completely removed you from the game to do that,
all
you
right.
know?
I'm gonna disagree with a great many things you just said.
Interesting.
I think first the game being easy is a level of bias on yours and my part. I think for someone that is not good at platformers, they would say that Astrobot is plenty challenging. Especially the optional challenge levels and some of the bosses, to be honest with you.
Oh, the
And
the the optional challenge stuff, absolutely. I don't know, man. Astrobot reads to me very much like a you could give this to a kid and they would play it and they would have a good time. No?
I think a kid could play it and have a good time, and by the end they would have improved a great deal on platformers in general. I think you're underestimating like how difficult 3D platformers can be for people in general. And you and I are like on the end of like we're kind of pros at it. To be honest.
That's true.
Cuz
I mean, I this is a thought that I can't remember this is not an original thought. This is something that I absolutely heard somewhere else first. The idea of taking somebody who's like never played a video game before, like for me, if I'm really excited, like, oh, play this cool thing, and then I just put like whatever the newest Call of Duty is in someone's hand with a controller, and I say, yeah, just go, it's cool, play it, and I just gave someone fully three-dimensional control and a whole bunch of actions in order to be able to not die for like 10 seconds. So I just put that person into what might as well literally just be hell. like
yeah.
like because it's just like what is happening and then you die like okay cool that was seemed entertaining, why do you guys do this for fun? Where like I
Yep.
think the best way to introduce someone to like video games is like you really should start someone with like a 2D platformer. like like you
Yep.
can't give people too many degrees of freedom and openness like from the jump, otherwise it's just like wow that's way too much. It's like
Yeah.
telling somebody to like instead of teaching them to drive, it's like, okay, we're gonna enter you into this race, and you've never driven a car before.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't
The other
maybe don't.
Yeah, the other thing with Astrobot too is this gets into the whole difficulty versus whether the game is forgiving or not, because I think it's incredibly forgiving when you fail, but you're also talking about a game that for the entire game you have no health. You get hit once and you die, which is like objectively difficult, especially for people that like don't know how to deal with enemies, and like the enemies like shoot bullets at you and you have to dodge them some of the time. But it is forgiving when you die. But I think potentially that game is quite difficult for a great many people, to be honest with you.
Well, I guess, but what my purpose is still, it's not necessarily in the difficulty. It's not that the game is doing all the hard stuff for you. It's that even in I guess to that kid, like because of all those ways, like you're saying, it's not all that punishing. Like I think that's again just kind of leading into all of the stacking factors of why I think that game is so good at all of those things, because you can play it at pretty much any level and it will be fun because the game is constantly making sure that you're doing something cool, and even if you die, all right, it throws you back a little bit, you know. And if you're that person who's dying a whole bunch, you're probably also not the person who's trying to 100% everything, right? So, like, just everything about the way the game is structured lends itself to you will get exactly the experience that I think that you want to out of it. Like,
Yeah.
you would have to go out of your way to have a bad time with Astrobot, is what it feels like to me. I guess that's really all I'm trying to get at, you know?
Yeah, it's like Mario in that way. Like Mario is very similar in that you can play it and to get to the end of the game and not take on anything challenging. Like most people will be able to do it, and if you want to make the game more challenging, you always have the option at any moment to like take on a more difficult secret area, or like decide you're going to master the triple jump in like Super Mario 64 or like Sunshine. Like there's all of these little things that you can do to add complexity yourself, or you can play it literally with just the jump button and be successful.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of Super Mario 64 and the triple jump and stuff, I texted you the other day and you thought I was joking about how excited I was to see that Nintendo announced that the Switch Online thing added the Game Boy Donkey Kong.
Then I say go for it.
Did you download that or play that or anything?
No, I think I played it when I was a kid.
Oh, yeah, dude, that game is amazing. That's like a top 5 Mario platforming game. Oh, I kind of want to.
I might have it.
Yeah, like I definitely have a cart somewhere. I don't know if I have it in my house or if it's still at my parents'. Yeah, that game's like incredible. Spoilers for anyone who doesn't know anything about Donkey Kong. I think it was 97 when that came out. For the Game Boy, the original Game Boy, in black and white. It starts off as like an actually pretty robust remake of just the original Donkey Kong, and then you do those like 5 levels or whatever it is, and then suddenly it opens up into like a multi-world, like Mario Brothers 3 overworld map platforming thing with like the triple jump from Mario 64 before Mario 64 came out type of thing, like bonkers. Like 97 must be too late. 94, maybe that. I gotta look this up now. I'm very excited about this. This is a great game. I don't know if I ever beat this game as a child, to be perfectly honest with you.
Is this like Rocket League but with chocobos and tigers? Is that what's happening?
I don't know. I am completely on another monitor looking up Donkey Kong. 94, that was correct.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, man, it's a really great video game, and I highly suggest anyone play that.
I think my big problem.
platformer.
I think my big problem with it was I didn't like the first 3 levels of Donkey Kong when I was a kid. Like I think that's where it was like a bummer for me. I just didn't have that much fun playing.
I think the best part about that is you can be done with that in like literally 5 minutes. Donkey Kong is so short.
Yeah, but it can be tough though.
No, not in that one.
Oh,
Like
really?
it's basically like a prologue, and then you're done, and then you're playing like a completely different game.
I don't know.
I'm telling you, dude. We
He's
gotta.
telling
Am
me.
I gonna have to like go on YouTube and find footage and just put it on stream? And be like, look.
I'm trying to find footage right now so I can look at it.
Oh, nice.
Oh, here
All
we
right,
go.
I don't know how to play this
found
game. I'm gonna figure it out. Just like the other thing, we're gonna see how poorly it goes, just like the last time.
Not Donkey Kong Country. It keeps. It's all Donkey Kong Country.
Doo-doo-doo. Whoa. Oh my gosh, it's a dog. Another dog. Alright, Andy, you were completely correct. This is decidedly Rocket League, but with animals.
I was staring at that, going like, is that what I'm looking at?
Exactly.
That's
It's
what
exactly
it felt like.
what this is.
Yep. Hilarious.
Am I don't know what team I'm on. Genuinely, I have no idea what team I'm on. I don't know what I should be doing. This is what happens when you don't pay attention to play video games. I understand Let's Players so much just, like, out of, like, nowhere. Like, out of these last 2 stream attempts, you're just like, oh, yeah, that's right. Sometimes your brain just turns off, you know?
I've
Was that
always
good?
understood
Did I want that?
players. I've never, I don't know.
Well, you
I've
also
always
go
been
on stage and perform, so, you know.
Yeah. But I don't know. It's just like, I've always understood the like, yeah, when you're alone playing video games, you're not perfect. So why would you be like perfect playing video games? Like just because the footage is being recorded. Like,
Yeah.
in fact,
well,
to be honest,
there's also another thread of my brain that's like actively trying to like listen to everything that you're saying and respond that is taking away from my ability to be good at the video game too. And I think a lot of people underestimate how significant that is. At least for me, like I generally have like processing issues with trying to like speak and do other things in general. Like fundamentally, I'll need to stop and be like, hold on, let me finish this before I respond to what it is you just said, because I didn't hear any of the words.
Yeah, no, I mean, to be honest, I always like whenever there's like a let's play that I'm watching or whatever, and they're like, "Oh, we're gonna skip ahead through this gameplay." I'm like, "Why? Why? That's what video games are. Is you get lost and you have to like sit around and go in circle. Like that's what I do when I play video games. That's like what playing video games is. So,
Bro, look at this regular dog with this chocobo.
look at that portable chicken. I
Look at
love.
this regular dog. Just straight up, get out of here, black team. You're done. You have 0 points now, I think. I think that's how this game works. I think I'm removing their points by scoring. I think
whoa.
I'm the yellow team.
I don't love the way you said black team.
Okay, well, that's what it says. That's not my fault. I didn't make this up. You can blame Square Enix. No!
I don't like the
Look
way
at
you
this
said
that
black
regular
ranger.
dog just got me.
It's the Key. You don't know the Key and Peele sketch I'm talking about?
I know I do.
Oh,
I don't like it.
I don't love the way you said black team. Sorry.
Don't apologize. I just was really excited about winning. I only got rank 1 reward. Oh my god. Do I have to play Dog Rocket League again? Dog League?
Why does this scene suddenly look like the characters like remind me of the Sega Dreamcast? Why do they have like an uncanny valley thing in just this little scene I'm watching?
Because we're in a less bespoke version of like, you know, everyone's got like all the crazy facial capture and stuff, whereas this is like, their lips will move the right way, but like,
Yeah, okay.
you're not getting the whole face.
Yeah, it definitely like that must be it. It must be the contrast from how they looked before, because it's just like everything looked really uncanny and weird for a second.
I need to come in first. Oh, it's a weapon for red. Oh, I have to do it. That's how that works.
All right.
Can't miss it.
Let's do it.
All right.
So-
I gotta. All right. What team am I on? I need to know. I'm team. Oh. The character's name is Red 13. I probably should have assumed I was on the red team.
You're on the
I'm on the red
Tommy.
team.
You're on the red team.
I'm on the red team. Yep. I got it now. Get out of here,
All right.
Chocobo.
So while you lose at this game, we talked a lot about Monster Hunter and why you should go play it. Did you want to talk about your portable chicken game at all?
I mean, this is the portable chicken game. So I've been playing a whole lot of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. It dropped last year, early on PS5, and I did buy it there, and I played a bunch of the intro area and then fell off of it. Not really sure why. It was in the middle of getting through the 2023 backlog was part of it. But all that said, I really love the action and combat in the Final Fantasy VII Remake games, and also the music and the way that it's rearranged has been like a cozy, warm blanket type thing for me. So this has kind of been my, not necessarily always turn my brain off game, but like the thing that I'm going to do to relax because it just puts me in a nice headspace.
Yeah.
Yeah. And all that said, this one in particular, is very goofy. As you can see, I've come to this new area. This one has been literally all mini games. I haven't done a single combat or anything the entire time, and that is just what Costa del Sol apparently is here. And there's been mini games in like the original Final Fantasy VII, as you will find out when you play. Like, it is kind of goofy and silly, but like this entry is really leaning into the like, all right, we're on our silly little trip. I guess we'll put some fun stuff in the video game type of thing. It's like
Yeah.
way more video game than I would have expected, while also still kind of having, like you saw, the mini map and check markers and blah blah blah. There's still a lot of those modern video game trappings on there, but for the most part, it's just silly fun stuff.
Yeah, which is cool, and it's also interesting because, I mean, I don't know a whole lot about the discourse of this game, but from what I've heard, people really loved FF7 Remake, and like I think a lot of people really liked this game, but there were a lot of people who felt like it was like a little bit bloated and maybe had some of the problems that like a lot of AAA games have. Like
Oh, it
I
certainly
haven't.
does.
Yeah. So
I'll you know what, I'll elaborate on that a little bit, just because. So, and I already said this to you, I think, offhand. So I have been trying to do basically all the side quests in the areas as I get to them. So I got through the first grasslands area and then the next open world area, and it gives you like your checklist. And I think there's like technically like a couple of things that I could do, but in order for me to get through that first open world area checklist after doing a couple hour intro sequence that's detached from it, I was at 15 hours before I went to the next area, in which I scraped that entire next area before starting the next story beat that I did this morning before the podcast that got me
That's
to where I
great.
am right now. And that took me to, that was a lot less time actually. I think it was like a little bit over 20 hours by the time I hit that. So that was like substantially less time. But like, there's just so much of this video game. There's so much. And on one hand, hey, if you don't want to play all that video game, no one's making you. You could just beeline to the end, and it'll still be pretty substantial content. But like, but all the side stuff is fun. Like all these little mini games are like fun, and you get cool stuff for doing a bunch of the side quests. And then I get to hang out with these characters more, and it's and it's whimsical. You know, like I dig it. So
Yeah. I think a lot of people say that too about games like Xenoblade, or I feel like a lot of these big modern JRPGs with a ton of stuff to do is it's like, well, if you don't want to do them, you don't have to do them. But like I think a lot of the fun of these games when it's done properly is you feel you get to be more immersed in the world, but also like for me my favorite part is when those things are useful. Like when in Xenoblade, for example, like when you do those side quests, your characters like level up and you get all of these great things to like upgrade your weapons and things like that. So I think when it's balanced properly and you're incentivized to do them, like it becomes a core part of the game, right? Like not only are you leveling up, but by doing all the extra things, you're getting immersed in the world, you're getting to know the characters, and it has like a direct benefit on gameplay where I can feel a little fatigued sometimes when it's like you're playing the game and you're like, all right, well, I want to do these things because I feel like it might be useful, but it kind of just feels like they threw in a bunch of stuff.
So yeah, and actually that's what I think this game has been doing really well is while I've been doing all that side stuff and everything is I am leveling up and I am getting more stuff. Like there's an entire part of the combat system that is new in Rebirth even compared to wait, what do I have to do here? Oh, I have to find cactuars. And take pictures. Oh, that's silly. That's not what they
This
normally
is like
look like.
exactly the stuff we're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like this is silly, and I get to hear the characters remark on what's happening, and get to hear their personality and everything. And when it's go find the thing and fight the monster, it's I'm getting experience from it. I'm gonna unlock something in the VR thing that lets me buy more materia, and also, you know, everybody has their cute little thing that they're gonna say, and there's personal relationships with Cloud that everyone has that goes up, and some specific side quests are, hey, this person's gonna like you more when you do this one. Like at the end of it, like I think we saw earlier, though, your relationship with someone has changed, type of thing. That'll just happen, you know.
Yeah.
So and it's, yeah, I don't know. It's just fun. I just like it. And when I get to the story beats and the bosses and stuff, like I just fought a boss that I didn't like steamroll, but I haven't had any fights that have been like super crazy easy because I've been doing all the side stuff. Everything seems to be pretty well balanced where like you're probably going to make it out of a fight kind of by the skin of your teeth, even if you don't ever lose, type of thing for the harder fights, which is really nice.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a fun game.
Yeah, I guess if you're looking for that like cozy, warm blanket game, it feels like a good vibe.
I think it is wild that I happen to get right to a point in the game where I cannot show you how the combat system works. I really wanted to just give you a glimpse of it, and I literally cannot.
I've seen it. I think it looks awesome from like what I've seen of these games.
Yeah,
I just want to
it's
play the
so
original stuff.
yeah, it's such a cool combat or combination of the turn-based thing with the ATB system and then like an action RPG type thing where I actually have input and I can dodge and attack and do all those things. So, and everyone's got a unique move set and skill and use and stuff, so it ends up working as like, hey, all these characters are unique, and it works like a class or a job system innately, you know. I
Yeah.
guess not really a job system, because job system implies that you can swap them, but you know.
I have no idea what he
Yeah.
sees in you.
But yeah, it looks like a cozy time from what I'm
Substitute?
seeing of it.
Yeah, it's very, very, very lots of money put into the game type of thing. My computer's also helping, but lots of money put into the game.
Yeah, I mean, your computer didn't design any of these characters, bro.
Sure didn't. You know what's really funny is actually one thing that is very silly about remake versus rebirth is like these are for the most part just kind of like generic people walking around, and you can always tell like they're not going to get as much love as like Tifa and Aerith in Red here because they're literally main characters that you're going to see all the time. But like in remake, you would have like a really bespoke, like incredible looking character like this, and then a character that looked like they were from like a previous generation of consoles.
Like from Sonic 06.
Yeah, and they're just talking, and you're like, wait, oh no, oh my God, what happened to you? They're like, we just that you can look at where the money ran out. It's that guy right there.
Yeah, I can picture that because the NPCs you've seen haven't looked quite like that, but I got the feeling like when I said that one character looked like Uncanny Valley, like I can picture that that's what happened in the first one.
Oh yeah, it was way out of control in the first one. Oh, that counted because I took it out and put it back. Nice. I have to
Yeah,
return. I have to return the wheelies, Andy.
Yeah, this is hilarious. I feel like this game is like you have to like fall in love with these characters and want to spend a ton of time with them to like have fun doing all this menial stuff.
Oh yeah, that's the thing. If you don't care about these characters at all, like I think I've said before that I think Final Fantasy VII was like a kind of overrated game, and yet you know what? A memory just unlocked for me, very specifically when Remake got announced. You were sitting in my bedroom, and I had the E3 stream up. We were hanging out because it was right after I graduated. We were hanging out at my place, and I had the stream up, and they showed the trailer announcing the remake, and I had that twinge of nostalgia, despite the fact that I was always like yeah, you know, Final Fantasy VII's like a good game, but like, and then the moment that I knew a remake was like actually real, I was like, oh, I mean, I'm gonna play that if it's real, like, you know.
Wow.
This is one of those.
Yeah.
It's time to play dress up with the ladies. All right,
I don't-
We're
and-
doing it, Andy.
I'm excited to play 7 like for real because especially for the podcast because then that means like I will force myself to actually play it and see it through. I don't know why I missed the boat on Final Fantasy and it's never like seemed quite super appealing to me. I don't know. It kind of passed me by, I feel like.
Well, I think you've engaged with JRPGs. I think also at a different point. Like I played Final Fantasy VIII was my first one, and that came out in '98. So I was like 6 years old or 7 years old when I played that, you know, and it left an impression on me. And then I played the other ones and yada yada. So that was like that became my version of learning about JRPGs. And actually a lot of the Final Fantasies, I think the reason why I'm glad that I did it with Final Fantasy is that a lot of them are really different, like really different from each
Yeah.
other. What is happening? There's a photo, there's a camera on the screen. Oh,
You gotta take a picture of the
Where is
cactus
he?
boy. Not there. I thought he would be on the sign too.
yeah,
He's
didn't
not
it
on the
didn't
sign.
it point me like in this direction?
No, I think the symbol just showed up. Look
Dang
look
it.
around more. Do a full circle. Do a full 360.
Start taking pictures of random people.
I mean,
There he
you're
is.
Definitely.
I found him.
There he is.
He looks like a
They actually
watermelon.
showed you that one in the preview, didn't
They
they?
did. Wait, it didn't count.
You got to get closer, maybe.
Just zoom in.
Yeah, it looks like there's a little exclamation mark. It should work.
Yeah, that's what I would have thought. Did that count?
Get closer. That's
yeah, what
weird.
the heck?
You.
Oh, it's because it's this one, and that does look like the cactuar. Here's the thing. I was looking for green.
Oh,
'cause
it's not the
him.
green one?
It's because it's him,
Oh.
because that's what cactuars look like. But why is he not green? They did it to
Oh.
Where's Waldo Me. He knew what they were
got you,
doing.
bro. They got you.
So you zoomed to 40%. Wow, just straight up. It literally was like, no, do it right.
It does say 40% down there, doesn't it?
Yeah, no, it literally told me. I took the picture, said, no, too close. I just love these little guys, he says. Yeah, dude,
Yeah.
cactuars are great, and then they fight you, and you're like, yo, why are they so hard to kill? Like, why do they do so much damage?
Yeah. Oh my God! Wait, that cactuar guy.
Wow, wow, wow. Yeah,
Look at him. Look at him again.
yeah.
And he like shoots out a bunch of spinies at you.
Yeah, he does the 1,000 needles attack, which will always do 1,000 damage all the
Oh
time.
my
Because he
God,
hits you with
dude.
1,000 attacks that all do 1 damage in 1 turn.
We're gonna come full circle right now.
Uh-huh.
There are little versions of that dude in Monster Hunter World that if you hit them will spray out 1,000,000 needles and do a ton of damage to you, and I did not ever realize that that was a Final Fantasy reference.
There you go. I was gonna say they've done a ton of crossovers. Like I'm assuming that's like a Final Fantasy 14 crossover thing they did at some point. Like just 14 does crossovers with a bunch of things. I don't
Yeah, they're
know. I'm just guessing.
They're just out in the world. Like there's like a specific desert area where
That's
like I
so
remember I got
funny.
killed by one once, and I was like, "What is that?"
That's so funny.
Oh my God.
Oh, that was a weird place for it to be like open the camera. So we can ah.
It's because there's a hidden cactuar.
Ah, jeez. That lady came out of nowhere.
Yeah, there definitely was no uncanny valley happening on
Where
that
the heck?
NPC. Mickey Mouse.
Mickey Mouse.
It's just the way you said what the don't take pictures of your friend, you weirdo.
I took the best way of taking a picture. Somebody 75% of the way through one blink.
My God. You're a
All
monster.
right, where's the cactus man? You gotta help me find him. Okay, get out of the way. Segway lady, Segway woman.
Oh my God.
Oh, I found him. He's up here.
Did you? Is he? Oh yeah, I see him. Yeah. Well, okay. I know we didn't get to combat, but it may be time to wrap up this stream soon. Yeah.
Most likely. I think that's about a boot right. So
We're
using
kinda
10%.
just-
I can't. Yeah, we're just rambling now. I'm incapable of taking pictures in a video game. It's Cryptic Puzzle, ladies and gentlemen. We don't know what we're doing anymore.
What is this?
At least-
Pokemon Snap?
Oh yeah, we're gonna get really loopy very soon. Hold on. He's excited about the cactuar.
Take a picture.
He
of
said,
the
"I'm so
game."
happy about you taking pictures of the cartoon cactus man." Like, okay. I mean, couldn't you have done this? Don't
We
you?
should put one in Monster Hunter Wilds.
Don't you guys have phones? This has been Cryptic Puzzle, everyone. Thank you for hanging out with us and dealing with whatever in the heck this is. We'll be back eventually. Maybe we'll have an actual topic or a game again. Well, who knows? Final Fantasy VII will probably take a while, so there'll probably be more things like this in the interim. So,
Yeah.
okay,
We-
goodbye, everyone.
Okay, bye.